Hi guys, welcome to my Corki guide. I'm starting by going over runes. You will most of the time be running precision with fleet footwork because it gives you sustain in the lane. What could be possible is lethal tempo, but I personally don't like it that much because you will lose more HP in the early game, and this is not that good for Corki. Then in the first row, you will always go Presence of Mind because you will get mana back from hitting enemy champions, which will happen a lot when you hit your ultimate. Here you can decide. Running Tenacity a lot because once the enemy has a stun and you are getting stunned, you will be one shot no matter what. So reduce in the stun time is pretty good. If the enemies don't have stun, you can go a Clarity for the attack speed, or Bloodline for sustained healing in the laning phase. In the third row, what would be possible is Coup de Gras if the enemies are more squishies than tanks, and if the enemies are more tanks than squishies, you will go Cut Down. For secondary path, I like to go Domination with 1 point in Taste of Blood and 1 point in Ravenous Hunter. Things you can do with that page is going for Ultimate Hunter, which will help you recharge your ultimates faster, but most of the times I'm going with Ravenous Hunter. What most people run is Magical Footwear and Biscuit Delivery. I personally not a big fan of those because I want to buy boots sometimes earlier, and I don't get the kill participations early. That happens, and I don't have that much mana problem since they implemented Presence of Mind, the change. There's one more mention you could go on Corki. This is Hail of Blades. This would help you with trading melee matchups like Assassins, but it's just optional. You even can go Fleet Footwork against Assassins. Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collection, and whatever you prefer here. And in the secondary tree, you have to run Yellow and go Presence of Mind and Tenacity, or one of those. Whatever you prefer. I would like to go Tenacity. Okay, let's not save those. Let's jump into spells. Okay, for spells, Flash is a must-have. I think you cannot skip on that one. And there are probably 2 or 3 options you can run as a secondary. Most of the time I'm running Teleport because it makes the possibilities to teleport and use your package while you have it. On the other side, against assassins like, let's say, Katarina, you can easily exhaust her and maybe even win the fight. Possible would be Cleanse against a lot of CC, but I'm running most of the time with Tenacity, Barrier for sustain against assassins for burst damage, and heal, but I would mostly stick with Teleport and Exhaust and Flash, of course. Okay, next part is the items. There are 5 options. Most likely when you see me play, I will go Doran's Blade. This will help you against matchups where the enemy is not able to deal as much damage over poke, more like burst champions, because you will be able to get back health by attacking minions. Pretty good choice. You get attack and health. On the other hand, Doran's Shield is for poke champions like Orianna, Syndra. You can outsustain most of the time the wave. There are scenarios where you have to go back and teleport back into lane, but that's no problem because you have to go into the game knowing, okay, the early game is not the phase of the game where I will shine. You will shine in the late game. Cull is an option. I currently don't like it as much because you could spend the money into a tier and already start stacking at level 1, and the health you get back, you could either go Doran's Blade or tier. But it is an option. I just don't like it currently that much. And for the last part, I personally don't use it, but I see many people use it. I don't know how to use it properly, so I don't run it. But I think if you want to trade and deal more damage and don't run out of mana, you can go for it. It's just not the type of item I like. Core items on Corki. It's all my opinion. Please keep that in mind. Manamune should be always the first item because you can start stacking your tier by auto attacks. You gain ability haste, pretty good for your ultimate, and you gain attack damage and mana. You will need this item in the long run, otherwise you will run out of mana so fast. Then for core items, you have Sorcerer's Boots. There are scenarios like 5 ADs, 5 APs where you go not Berserkers, don't buy Berserkers Graves by the way. You go either Plated Steel Caps or Mercury Threads. Only 3 options I think are there. I don't like the ability haste boots. I rather go Magic Pen and deal more burst damage to the squishies. For the third item, I think you will be wondering why I run this, but I think it gives you a lot of sustain against burst, because once you are low, you will be healing more, you get a shield, and you're less likely to die in this scenario. But we'll talk about mythics soon. Fourth item is either Essence Reaver all the way or just Sheen, and I'm going for Rapid Fire Cannon. That's just playstyle wise. With Rapid you can poke more with your auto attacks, and with Essence Reaver your ultimate will obviously deal more damage, and you have some ability haste. All in all you get 35 ability haste via 5 items, which is pretty good. Not the best, but pretty good. 50% 50 ability haste is 20 cooldown reduction, I think, or 30. So with one more item, you're pretty good already, or even blue buff. So for the last slot, there are some options. Mercurial Scimitar is the item I'm running if I'm likely to die once an Ash ultimate, Leona ultimate hits me and I'm dead. I don't want to be dead, I want to be alive. You can even possibly buy Quicksilver as a third item, which is pretty good. But this is optional. Against mage comps also good. You cannot buy Hex Drinker with Shield Bow because the shields are the same passive. Against heavy tank comps, you want to go with Void Staff because you will shred the magic resist of the tanks, and you will deal a lot of damage. And there's some scaling of ability power in your ultimate and Q and W, but don't buy AP overall. Guardian Angel is for armor mostly, so if you have a Z in the enemy team, go Guardian Angel, negate the lethality, and you're good. Ravenous Hydra is an item to run to get more sustain. Your ultimate will proc Ravenous Hydra, not Tiamat, but you get 65 attack damage, 20 ability haste, and 15% Omnivamp. All good stats on Corki because you will be getting more ults with more damage, and this will heal you. Then Infinity Edge is an option. You even can swap out the Rapid Fire Cannon or the Essence Reaver. That's playstyle. You will reach the 60% crit chance you need, and overall good item. 60 AD is pretty nice. If you see enemies of, like, let's say 2 assassins who are bursting you, you can go Bloodthirster, which will help you sustain damage even more because you get a shield on top. And yeah, you get lifesteal, critical, and a good amount of damage. There are some scenarios where I like to go Stormrazor. Stormrazor basically helps you to hit your ultimate 100% because you slow the enemies so much, and like champs like Udyr, Garen are not able to chase you anymore because you basically just can use Stormrazor. Your fleet footwork will give you movement speed and you will be out of the fight. For the other mythics and why I personally don't like them, let's start by Kraken Slayer. I don't like Kraken Slayer because you have to do 3 auto attacks and there are scenarios where you cannot do 3 auto attacks. To Gale Force, I have seen Gale Force getting played. I just don't like the stats. I don't like that there's no healing involved, and I don't like the movement speed as a passive. It's just my playstyle. I think it could be viable. I just don't like it. And the other 2 mythics, which will most of you guys be running, is Divine Thunderer. I think it's okay. I just think you need the attack speed more than the armor and magic penetration. But that's just personal preference. You can of course go Divine Thunderer, and of course you can go Tiamat. But I think there's the biggest problem is that those 2 items don't involve crit, so you cannot go Infinity Edge. And I just like the shield more than having more attack speed. There are some things I don't want to see you building in your next Corki game. Don't buy Last Whisper, it sucks. You don't have abilities that do physical damage, not even your auto attacks deal physical damage. Every magical item with AP scalings is shit once you reach level 11. The AD scalings are way better. Just don't go AP. And don't go lethality. And I don't know why I put this here. I wanted to put this here. I wanted to put this here. Death Dance is optional, but I think Guardian Angel could be better in some scenarios. Probably Death Dance is... I think it's even better. Get ability haste, you get armor, you get more AD for 300. Yeah, I think it's better. Okay, for the next part, I want to focus about the abilities Corki has. Passive is Corki's basics attack are 20% AD, 80% magic damage. This is why Last Whisper is absolute waste on Corki. And it's also the package, which is spawning at 8 minutes and spawning afterwards every 5 minutes, I assume. But I think we get into the package more later. What you need to know, it deals a lot of damage. Okay. Your Q, basically ability that will help you in the early game farm a bit, poke a bit, and in the late game burst a lot. Mana is going up with every point you give it. You will level Q first, then the E, and then your W, by the way. And it's 70 AD and 50 AP. Keep in mind, don't buy AP even in this scenario. Your W is your dash. This is stealing magical damage. You are able to push waves with it because you leave a trail. And if you want to port back and push the last wave into the enemy tower, use your W to push the wave. Your special delivery has huge AD scalings and not so good AP scalings. 1400 bonus AD is a lot, and you will use your package at level 8 to either gank bot, secure Drake, secure Herald, gank top, or kill your enemy mid laner. Once you have your package, you have to go into like I can kill anybody in a 1 versus 1. This is basically how I played. And then if you hit him or the other champion, you are able to kill him, I would say 80% of the time. But enemies will get notified that you are using the package. Okay, Gatling Gun, it's an ability that gets you a cone of damage in front of you that will reduce magic resist and armor. And it scales from 7.5 to 20, 1 to 2.5 damage reduction, resistance reduction per tick. So if you're in a melee matchup like, let's say, Galio, you actually can max your E because you will deal more damage than just leveling your Q. But you will lose some burst abilities in like to level 13. Okay, and for your ultimate, this is where Corki shines. This is the power spike you want to hit. You have a stock of 7 rockets. You store them every 12 to 10 seconds, and you can shoot them every 2 seconds. This is affected by ability haste, so there's an option to this being even shorter. For me personally, the biggest spike in Corki's kit is 11 or even 16, because your scaling of the magic damage go up from 15% to 45% to 75%, and the big ones are even larger affected to 30, 90 and 150% of AD, and it's less AP. It's even in the early game just 5%, so once you reach 11, AP doesn't work anymore. So it's to okay guys, for the next part I want to focus about your mid lane matchups. I structured it into 5 categories, and we will start by going over unplayable. Unplayable matchups you will lose in the long term because you cannot do as much as you want to do in the laning phase or even in late game. Starting by Katarina, she will most likely win the early game a bit because your damage is not as much. I would recommend going for Hail of Blades and going for Doran's Shield or Doran's Blade. You maybe be able to win from level 1 to 3. Afterwards, I'm struggling a lot. Yasuo is another problem. I would go Doran's Shield on him. You will lose in the early game very much, and because of the wind wall design, there are many fights when you get a gank from your jungler where you can't even help, and this probably ends up in a double kill. For Katarina and Yasuo, I would recommend going Exhaust. Khazad-dûm is another problem because your damage is mostly magical and his Q gives him a magic shield, and in the long term he is outscaling you. I would recommend going Handle of Blades and running Teleport. Irelia is an early game bully. If you are able to survive the early game, you will be able to outscale her, and in the late are probably able to kill her with package. Probably Shield Bow and Doran's Blade. Okay, for hard matchups, there are ways to win them, but in the early game you will struggle a lot. Late game is a whole different shoe. Fizz is a big problem once he reaches level 6. You will not be able to trade him as much as you like, because once he's pressing E and jumping on you, you will lose a lot of your HP bar and probably even die. I would recommend going for Blade, I assume. For LeBlanc, you have to go Doran Shield, otherwise your lane phase is over. There's a possibility to go refillable. It's just not my playstyle. You basically have to wait till level 11, or once your jungler gives you 2 ganks and you get 2 kills to be ahead. Akali is probably hard because once she has more kills than you, she will most likely outscale you and one-shot you in most of the fights. So that's a problem. Go Doran Shield and try to stay passive and try to stay very high on farm. Yone is basically a small Khazad. He will outscale you in the late game, but there is a possibility to win versus him by farming a lot and probably getting 2 ganks with your package. He has the same problem as Khazad. I think you cannot do as much damage as you want, and currently I think he's too strong. But the shield is just too healthy on him. Lucian is Doran's Blade game. By the way, on melee matchups, I most likely recommend Hail of Blades, but you can go for Fleet Footwork. Just try it out for yourself. You will find the perfect way. But once you are likely to lose HP in the lane, Fleet Footwork is generally a very good rune. Okay, so back to Lucian. His early game is very punishable if you play it wrong. You will outscale him in the late game, no matter what. Scaling on Corki is pretty good. I put Zed on hard because I basically cannot play against him. That's just, for me, my struggles. I don't know how to play against him. Once he reaches level 6, he most likely one-shots me. I'm trying to go armor very early against him. And I'm trying to go Doran's Blade. For Diana, there's a huge potential for her to one-shot you because you only have 1 dash and her ultimate will hit you if she double dashes. Just try to farm and you will be fine in the late game. Because late game, if you got shield bow, she won't be able to one-shot you. Most of the cases. Only if she's fed. Zoe is a lane where once she hits her bubble or her Q, you will lose so much HP. Overall, not a good lane for you. Go Doran's Shield and also try just to farm as much as you can. Pantheon currently pretty strong, I assume. I haven't played against the current Pantheon, but I just rated him hard because you have to be very careful in the early game because he can one-shot you. Doran's Blade or Shield, doesn't matter really. Qiyana, probably same. A good Qiyana will be unplayable basically, but I'll be very defensive, not to lose much HP, and also farm a lot. So for okay matchups, there is a possibility to win lane. That's sometimes you need a jungler for it, but once you get a kill, you are pretty much guaranteed to win mid lane at this point. So for Cassiopeia, you basically just try to have to dodge her poison. If you dodge it, you could possibly trade, and once you reach level 6, you can poke freely and even farm freely, which is very beneficial. Doran's Blade, by the way, for Cassiopeia. Or Doran's Shield. Doran's Shield is better. Doran's Shield for Cassiopeia. Lulu is an okay matchup. You are most likely to go even, so just try to farm and you will be fine. Galio is a problem once he gets a gank. Rest of the time you can basically just poke, go Hail of Blades and win lane. Silas is problem once he reaches level 3. Level 6 and he takes your ultimate, he's stronger because he gets 7 stacks and you don't have any, so be careful of that. Yes. For Talon, you have to ping your mates a lot so they will retreat. Try to be careful of the level 2 power spike, and in the end you will outscale him like most of the champions if you go even. Xerath is okay. Once he hits more spells than you do, you will lose the lane, so try to dodge a lot and try to buy boots early. For Echo you have to play passive, but if he's not hitting his Q, you most likely be very fine in the laning phase. Anivia will punish you a lot in the early game if you don't dodge your Qs, so there's a possibility to use W to dodge it, otherwise lane could be over. Once you reach level 6, you're basically not able to push to tower, but you can farm easy, and that's pretty good for Corki. Syndra is Doran Shield must buy game. You will be very fine in the laning phase and be able to one-shot her once you get your package, because she doesn't have any dashes. That's basically a principle you can use for Xerath, Anivia, Orianna. You are basically able to one-shot them once you are getting your package. Vel'Koz is an okay matchup if you're able to dodge. If it's a good Vel'Koz, you will get into a lot of problems, but you're able to play the lane with Enduring Shield. Kayle is a big problem because you cannot punish her in the early game as much as you like, but I think you will go even in the late game, so try to leave the lane if a river fight is coming. Be first and try to get the first kill, so you will get a lead and win the late game. Victor is a poke lane, go Doran's Shield, and just try to stay healthy and don't give him kills, because he will lose his upgrades very long. Okay, for good matchups, this is generally something I don't struggle with, because you are able just to farm and are not in the danger of dying. Orianna is most likely not be able to one-shot you, and you can farm. Heimerdinger is pushing the minions into your turret, and that's free farm. That's all you want on Corki. Brand is evenly ranged, so once he can press his W, you can auto-attack him. You just have to dodge the stun, and you are able to poke him with your ultimate. These, by the way, these lower sector are matchups where once you reach level 11, maybe with Floodknot, but in other cases you will outscale him so hard, it's basically free. So yeah, just try to poke him once you reach your ult. Same with Ryze, don't try to trade early, just farm and you will be fine. Vladimir, same thing with those last two. Okay, so Vladimir is okay, because he doesn't outrage you. You just have to play passive and poke in the late game. But he is probably a bit better in the late game than you are. Lissandra is okay to play. Lissandra is okay to play because you can go into farming mode and you could possibly kill her 1 versus 1. But I don't have the matchup enough to be sure. Vega is okay, you farm. And same with Azir and Tristana. Tristana is just a problem once she reaches level 3. Afterwards you are getting stronger every level. You will be fine. For easy matchups we have Aurelion Sol. Basically whole role, you just try to farm, and if some fight is breaking out, to move earlier than your mid laner. That's basically all I have to say. You don't even need to kill the enemy, just farm and you will outscale. So for my next part, I'm trying to get you to understand how I play my lane. This is, by the way, a master Akali player. We're playing Flex as a full team. And for the early game with Corki, this is obviously a hard matchup for me because assassins hurt me a lot in the early game. I'm just trying to farm as much as I can and not get too much poked in the early game. Akali's early game is very good. Mine is not very good. I'm trying to deal some damage to her. She hits me there, takes a turret, even trade. That's okay for me, because I will sustain that back up by either going with my pot, and in this case just out-attacking under the turret. So I'm level 3. And I'm able to be one farm lower than her, even though Akali roams bot, which I ping her team. But we are able to kill her because I moved earlier. My bot lane is there, and she even uses flash. Otherwise I would have flashed and tried to kill her, because early kills on Corki are the must-have. I'm freezing the lane here. Nunu runs me down. Bit too deep, because I can flash. I'm glad I didn't flash earlier. And so basically, for my mind, this game is pretty much the best possible. I can try to gank. Taking a lot of damage wasn't maybe the best TP, but I'm able to go even. So lane progresses, I'm still farming. Kali is able to move all the time, which I ping my team, which lets my bot lane play defensive. That's something you have to accept on Corki, Nunu gank. But since I'm standing on the turret, they can do basically nothing. I'm still farming, even in farm pretty much. I'm still getting on the turret. Akali tries to move down all the time. I think she will not be able to get a kill right here. Still farming all you want in Corki. It's like the best thing you can do. Keeping the wave near me. Akali loses a lot of farm. Sadly is able to get an assist on the bot lane. Once I realize that, I'm pushing the wave into her tower. So I could have done that earlier. That was probably not the best scenario I did. But I'm able to reset for free. And already having level 6 and not near danger anywhere close. So farming on the turret. Once you reach level 11, you are able to win this lane maybe, but currently it's not very good. So a small trick on Corki: if you have not enough AD to kill the minions, you can use your E and hit them for a small amount and then turn in the other direction so you don't deal too much damage. Kali's still trying to move, but I'll push her into mid lane so she has to respond to them, so she cannot move as much as she wants to. Lulu ganks me, I'm still safe. And once I'm reaching level 11, which I still farm. Kali cannot kill me. Once I reach level 11, bad TP by the way, I'll just get stronger and stronger every item, every AD I have. I'm able to focus. So I pick package here. So I try to do something. I see Olaf fighting here. I'm calling him up and fight it. I'm splitting them. Akali can't move through this. And I end up killing Nunu. And we are able to get a kill and move out. So she knows she's stronger, she will kill me in 1 versus 1, but I don't get into that. Take Drake. I still farm. Kali will move. Still farming. Kali has to come back. I can reset for free and then take the next wave. And this is basically all I do in the early game. Just try not to get into fights. Let's look at that one. I think it was not good. get caught, we lose it, but it's not a problem for me as long as I'm alive and I'm able to take farm. So I'm pretty sure this is the scenario where I die, yeah. Should have backed up, but in the end it doesn't really matter because we end up winning the game. Now I will talk something about packages I use with Corki. Let's get right into it. Okay, you see me teleporting behind. I'm not sure if this is the best thing to do right now, but I did it and it worked out in the end. Because I basically could have just run her down. But there is a possibility she would escape me. So I'm teleporting. By the way, we are even. I'm just a bit more farmed. So level 11 to a level 10. I use package straight into her, which ends up kills her. Otherwise I would have been dead. This package is pretty good because you know you will hit your package short range, and I just waited a bit, otherwise there would be a possibility she could have dodged it with her ultimate. Okay, so the game progressed a bit. I took package, we have killed one person. I see 4 people going mid lane, 3 people going mid lane. And I see Kai'Sa on that ward, and I'll spot her on this ward, which means I can kill her. I'm zoning her off. This package is pretty good because you will bounce her back, she didn't expect it, and within a very short time I'm able to kill her. Let's show it again. I'm clearing this ward, they don't see me, passing by this ward, and then killing her instantly. Can do nothing. Okay, the next package is something you can only do if you're ahead, and it's always maybe sometimes not the best, because if I would have died here, there's a possibility we could lose the game. But anyways, I'll show it to you. So I see it's 1 versus 4. And by the way, my thought process right here is to kill Kai'Sa or Nami or Lux and try to block Hikarim as good as possible. I'm trying to poke first, and then I see the option, which gives me a double kill in a very short time. This is 1 versus 4. I'll show it to you again. Slow motion. I see them grouped. Hitting my package, throwing them to the left side, which yields me a double kill, and I'm able to escape. Okay guys, this is the next package I'm showing you. This is the perfect dive package, because you will split the team to one side so they cannot escape anymore, and I'll show you how to use it perfectly. Let's slow-mo this. So I'm flanking from here, hitting him, and then everybody is positioned way too far ahead, going in, knocking everybody into the team and killing them in the end. Okay, so we are about to contest for the blue. Silas has Malphite ult, which is actually pretty bad for us. I'll dash introduce 2 guys. Go! I'm going behind my package, so everybody who wants to kill me has to go through this. Which kills the Galio completely, and the Silos afterwards. And afterwards we just chase and end up killing them. Thank you very much for watching this guide. I'm planning on making commentated replays of me, because I think I can talk about some principles I use in the games. If you like the guide, please give it a like. And if you feel like there's something missing, feel free to tell me in the comments. And I might get into some replays of you guys, so we can talk about some mistakes, and I want to upload them. So have a good one. Bye bye.